afternoon, my Facebook family. I have a message that I wanted to share. As the Word of God reminds us, He said, "Oh, taste and see that the Lord is good." And I tasted this message, and I believe that it's good. And so, as I am working my way through it, I wanted to share so you can do it as well. So I'm reading from what I write here, just so that we could stay on target. And my topic is unforgiveness transferred. In the book of John, chapter 4, we read the story about the woman at the well, the Samaritan woman that Jesus met at the well. And as the story told us that Jesus came up, she was there to catch water, and he came up and he asked for water. And I don't know, it must be his attire that that she knows to identify that he was a Jew, but she pretty much looked at him and said, you must have not been from around here, or you must have not known your history, because had you known your history, you would have known that the Jews had nothing to do with the Samaritans. So how could you be asking me for water? And so what we see in that example is that here is someone that desires something. He's thirsty, he needs some water to drink. But because of the past that has nothing to do with the two individuals now, but because of that unforgiveness that was transferred, even if this woman had desire, she is committed to that transfer. And so she responds not out of a place that I was hurt by Jesus, and so I'm not going to give you a drink, but from the place to say it has been set from generations down that the Jew should have nothing to do with the Samaritans. So even if I have the desire, I am committed to that vow. And here's my belief when it comes to history. I believe that if the history that is about to be revealed is not for the betterment of the generation, then that history should be concealed. I'm going to read it again. If that history that is about to be revealed is not for the betterment of the generation, the era, then that history should be concealed. I'm sure that there was a point when the Jew and the Samaritans were friends. But as history taught us, they had a major fallout, and it was stamped in seal then that the Jew will have no dealing with the Samaritans going forward. How could something so wrong be so strong that it holds us from generation to generation and it keeps going? When Adam and Eve was in the garden, they were at a place where provision was made for them. There was no need for them to be worried about everything. And after the fall, they were pretty much cast out. And the Bible tells us that the man must now work, and by the sweat of his brow, he's going to eat bread. And so when we look at that, over the course of time, we have learned to depend on ourselves, our strength to maintain and take care of our family. But just as Jesus approached this woman and said, if you know who asks, you would give, and you you'd ask of me, and I would give you the living water, that you will never go thirsty again. And I look at that, and I'm looking at what Jesus Christ did on the scene, even for us today. He came back to restore us to that place, that harmonious place that we were with our Father. Looking at the computer age, there was a point in time, I don't know if that still existed because technology have gotten so advanced, but there was something that we called a restore date or restore point. And we were advised that every now and then, if you're working on your computer and everything is going great, you can go ahead and you can save a bunch of restore dates. And what those restore dates do is that, should in case after a period of time you start to experience problem with your computer, you don't just throw it away. You'll go and you'll find one of those restore dates. Your computer would be functioning again. Now we're in the era that everything is just, if it's not working, you just dump it and you replace. There is no restore, there's a replacement. And so what we see, that's this transfer of unforgiveness, it doesn't call for a restoration. It says you replace. So the Jew have no dealing with the Samaritan. So that relationship is done. There is no restoration. We find another nation to replace it. But what if we have restore dates set up in our lives? When we were at our best, as Jesus is calling us into that place, he said, remember, there was a place in the garden where there was peace and provision and rest. And I want to restore you back to that place where you depend on your Father and he provides for you and he takes care of you. What if we set up those dates? There was a restored date. I'm sure there was a good date before slavery. There was a good date before the falling away with the Samaritans and the Jews. There was a good date in the lives of husband and wife, parents and children, a good date. What if we hit those restore buttons? I remember my dad sharing a story. One of his sisters had passed and he went to the funeral. And he came back home and he was sad. He said, I saw my nieces and nobody says hi. Like, he approached to say hello and they just kind of ignore him. And I said, what happened? I don't understand. And he said, when they were younger, two of the sisters, there was some rivalry that took place between the two sisters, and he was closer with one of the sisters. They share the same father, and so he was closer with that particular sister. And because he was closer to her, the rivalry between the sisters, they kind of put him in it. So they abandoned him from the family as well. He's the only nephew uncle, but that's how it goes. So you see that unforgiveness was transferred to the generation, and the generation carried on, and he's experiencing it. I'm sure that you are experiencing that, or I should say, you have, if you have not already gotten over it, or you are going through, or you knew someone that is experiencing this, that you are living your life with transfer unforgiveness. You're living your life with the result, bearing the impact of wickedness that has taken place over the course of time that you have nothing to do with. I can say that, I can attest that in this current generation that I'm in, that transfer of unforgiveness is taking place. It's taking place, and I'm seeing where it's being transferred even to our children. And mind you, from my father's story, I don't know anything about those cousins that I have, because what stood between us is that transfer of unforgiveness that took place many moons ago. We have enough to deal with current situation that we don't need to be worrying about the transferred ones. We need to let them go so that we can make good decisions now. Deal with the situations that are current, and let us let go the things that you and I have nothing to do with. Absolutely nothing to do with. Let us make our lives preparing ourselves for restored dates, spending happy moments with our loved ones and pinpointing those dates. That's why people take vacation, but somehow this evil, it is so strong that when it comes up, it doesn't matter how much vacation we take, it still tore family apart. It still caused marriage to end. It still break everything down. With our free will, we can also make the difference. We can decide and purpose within our heart that, you know what, I'm going to deal with this family member based on the current. If that person haven't done anything to you, if that co-worker haven't done anything to you, if that company haven't done anything to you, whatever it is, deal with them in the now. Let us stop allow things to transfer from the past that is not transfer for our good, to deter the decisions that we have to make now pertaining to our relationship with our family members, with our co-workers, with our neighbors. Let us leave those and drink, offer love, because he said, I give to you freely. Offer love out of no place but from the place of God. Offer kindness. Don't let that thing that appears to be so strong hold us, that we can't look away, that we can't press on. We can't press on through it. I always said this. I am not taking on any generational sickness. If there was no wealth left for me, why should I take on the things that doesn't benefit me? And we do it. It's not benefiting us. We are not earning anything. There is no merits from taking on transferred unforgiveness. So let's lose ourselves today. I am on my journey, and if you have not already done so, I hope that after listening to this, you will start that journey. Deal with people within the present. Within the present. God bless. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel, because as the Lord share or deposit things in my spirit, and I taste and I see that it's good, my desire is always to share with you. And I don't want you to miss out on such an opportunity.